Imagine playing a high-stakes championship game, but the referee has a personal grudge against your coach. You wouldn't expect a fair call. The exact same standard applies to our justice system. We like to picture the law as a perfectly logical machine, but the people wearing the robes are still human. They get offended, they hold grudges, and sometimes they let their personal feelings dictate their professional behavior. When a judge loses their neutrality, the law requires them to step away from the case entirely. In the Swiss legal system, this mandatory removal is called Ausstand. It is a strict procedural rule designed to protect defendants from biased rulings. To see how this rule is tested, we look at an almost unbelievable legal drama that unfolded in the Swiss canton of Obwalden. It brings up a serious question for anyone facing a trial. What happens to you, the powerless defendant, when the person deciding your fate and the person defending your freedom secretly despise each other? Our conflict centers on two men, the highest-ranking judge in the canton, Chief Judge Andreas Jenny, and a local defense attorney we'll call Lawyer Y. Over several years, these two had developed a deep mutual dislike. The friction started when Lawyer Y publicly campaigned against a salary increase for the local judges. This sparked bitter letters, formal official complaints, and escalating mutual accusations. Eventually, a mediator stepped in to host a peace summit. The goal was to clear the air so the local courts could function normally. During this meeting, Lawyer Y formally apologized for some of the harsh words he had used in his legal filings. This is where the chief judge made a critical error. Instead of accepting the apology and returning to his duties, he let personal feelings take over. He blurred the line between his role as an impartial official and his status as an offended private citizen. The judge demanded that Lawyer Y pay a 1,500 franc donation to charity as compensation for his seelische Unbill, a legal term meaning mental distress. If the lawyer refused, the judge threatened to file private lawsuits to protect his own reputation. He didn't stop at threats. Operating from the bench, Judge Jenny actively suggested disciplinary fines against Lawyer Y and his law partner. Later, he even tried to force the lawyer to personally pay the court costs for a hearing, a highly irregular move. Through all of this back and forth, there was an actual defendant waiting for a verdict. Watching the presiding judge use the courtroom machinery to settle a personal score with their lawyer, the defendant realized a fair trial was impossible. The defendant formally requested Judge Jenny be removed from the case due to his obvious bias, but the local Obwalden court, reviewing a complaint against their own boss, denied the request and kept him on the bench. The defendant appealed the decision, taking the fight out of the local jurisdiction and up to the highest legal authority in the country, the Swiss Federal Supreme Court. The Supreme Court dismantled the local ruling in three parts. First, they noted that a judge cannot mix their official duties with private demands for personal compensation. The two roles must maintain a strict firewall. Second, the High Court pointed to the timeline. Because Judge Jenny continued to threaten private lawsuits even after Lawyer Y had formally apologized, it showed his actions were driven entirely by personal offense. Finally, the court ruled that weaponizing court costs and pushing for disciplinary fines against the defense attorney demonstrated a total lack of the objective distance required to sit on the bench. These 3 points illustrate a crucial legal standard known as Anschein der Befangenheit, or the appearance of bias. The Supreme Court doesn't have to prove that the judge actually ruled unfairly in the courtroom. If the situation simply looks unfair to a reasonable objective observer, the judge has to go. The Federal Supreme Court overturned the local decision. They forced Chief Judge Jenny to step down from the proceeding, ensuring the defendant would finally present their case to a neutral referee. The rule of Ausstand acts as a critical safety net for the public. It guarantees that an individual's freedom and finances are never held hostage simply because a powerful person's ego was bruised. This ruling proves the legal system has mechanisms to correct itself. For the law to carry weight, true justice must